All right. Welcome back to a very slightly, not even close to actually fully slightly inebriated podcast with myself, Nick, who is having a great Friday night in a college party town by sitting in my apartment at 10:30 at night alone, technically alone, drinking, which is great, but I'm here to talk hockey prospects, which I have done for the past week plus at this point because hockey is back in full swing. We're only slightly late to actually recapping the prospect showcase because, life happens. I'm in school. I have a job. Matt has multiple jobs as well. We're just all over the place. And sometimes it takes us a little bit longer because, this does not pay us well or at all. So, in
It's
any
paid.
case, well, I'm not going to disclose anything, but
Was that the thing you didn't want to talk about earlier? Is the secret you were hiding from me?
am I hiding secrets from
You're
you
supposed you're
about?
supposed you were supposed to play along, but now the joke's ruined.
Oh, I give me one. Let me get my thinking juice in. In any case, I'm joined by my co-host Matt, who is here to talk prospects. How are you, Matt?
Fantastic.
You sounded really far away there.
There's no other like I couldn't be any worse because hockey's back. I couldn't be any better. I'm just so happy.
Well, you're gonna hear me rant about some players later on because I
Oh,
have some
I'll
thoughts.
probably join you.
Yeah, I got some heavy thoughts and heavy opinions about some guys currently playing hockey. I also have some heavy thoughts for audio listeners out there, which accounts for most of our viewership. Again, thank you very much. I had Florida State, Virginia pulled up, and Florida State picked off Virginia at the end of the game, and then took a knee and went to the overtime. So sure, whatever. In any case, yes, prospect hockey is back in full swing. I have been extremely busy with it, and honestly, that's a good thing. That also comes with some downsides that I've been extremely busy with it, and I will get into that when we talk about some guys later on. But first up, because we're so late, we did not have an episode recapping the prospect showcase, which happened. What was it? 2-3 weeks ago at this point.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. You also sound really far away.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, lean in. Come on. We're somewhat professional around here. So Prospect Showcase happened, and I think we got answers to questions that we had going into the offseason, and I think we also had new questions that arose because of what we saw. The first thing I think we desperately need to say, Ruslan Hajayev, my God, whatever he did in the offseason has worked wonders because he looked like an entirely new goalie. He was night and day better than what I saw at the end of last year. Going into the prospect showcase this year, he just looked like a competent goalie from a from a technical perspective because stay with me now. Last year he was a little wild, a little out of control, and a little shaky technically at times. Okay, do I need to?
Would you dare to say he looked incompetent?
No, because he had a
Oh
couple
my
of really good
god.
games. I'm just
Look at
saying
man.
in the prospect showcase, let me regain my train of thought here before you rudely interrupted. In the prospect showcase, he maintained the flashes over a full stretch of game time, which is the
Yeah.
biggest thing to me is that he would, in games where he lost and the stat line looked bad, he would still have multiple flashes within the game that made you go, okay, hold on.
Right.
But this time he had those multiple flashes in the game and continued to look good and not give up, one or two not great looking shots. And that's the big thing is that now he looks a lot better, and going into a Chicago Wolves training camp, or I guess the Canes training camp that's still going on, even though I don't know if he'll get a look in game action. He should, but in any case, going into that Wolves camp where Amir Miftakov has looked, I'm going to be really careful, but Amir Miftakov has looked shaky, to say the least, in his game time. So the 80
You
minutes
can
that he's
just
played so far.
I would flat out say that Miftakov has been bad.
Yeah, the 2 goals that he gave up in that floor, was it 2 or 3? It was 3.
He gave up a lot of goals between
3, I
last
think it
night
was.
and
I don't
last
know if
game and tonight.
I don't know if one of the Florida goals was an empty net, but I know at least 2 of them were really ugly, and at least 3 of the 6 tonight were not good. So going into that, where you have an opportunity to get good competition and good, if you play really well, you get playing time. It's going to be great for him. So I'm excited to see what he has to offer going forward.
Yeah. Hazayev, I think, just looks more comfortable. Like, the rebound control is better. He's not as erratic. He's, making smarter reads. Like, just the all around game is much more controlled. And I think that's a really big deal when you look at a goalie like him that's kind of more on the chaotic style, like the definitely more of like the Pyotr Kochetkov style of goalie. For him to show a little bit more of the restraint and the control and still be able to make those big saves and keep his team in games, like those are positive signs of growth, right?
Yeah,
So I'm excited. I think heading into the off season this summer was a big off season for him.
100%.
Like, he had a really bad year. Obviously Carolina has come in and they traded for Caden Primo. They signed Amir Miftakov, like, you
Well,
know,
there was also one other
and they
that
signed
they were
Nikita
linked.
Kwap, but like Nikita
Oh,
Kwap,
okay. Yeah, we'll keep with those guys.
yeah, like, yeah, for my sake,
I think we might be safe from that anyways. So
yeah, but I have 2 jobs now that I have to be professional on what I put online, and
I would say I do, but my the radio guy I work for is actually really cool with what I do and actually
I've
supports it a lot.
said
So
I've said it on Substack, and I think I put it like pretty bluntly. So
yeah,
I'll leave it at that. They signed like they brought in 3 goalies this offseason. They've brought in 3 goalies,
6 under
brand new.
contract in North America now.
Yeah. And it's just for me the way I see it with Kazayev is he needed to have a big offseason. And so I haven't seen him in games, obviously, other than the prospect showcase, but I think given what we've seen from Amir Miftakov, like I almost am wondering if Miftakov might be headed back to Russia. It's been ugly for him, dude.
It has. I wouldn't go that far yet, but I do think it hasn't looked great. But
No.
I wouldn't take that drastic step yet, personally. But
Let's
I
we'll
do
stay on the
understand.
prospect showcase for now because I'm sure we got preseason thoughts too.
Yeah. Next up, let's roll through. I definitely say the second biggest revelation to come out of the prospect showcase for me, and I would probably say for you too, was the 34th overall pick last year, the Czech defenseman Dominik Bedenka,
Yeah.
another guy that has honestly looked night and day different than what I watched with Malmo last year. He just looked better, flat out. He was making smart decisions. He was making quick decisions. He was moving the puck well. He was skating freely. It just looked like a more complete and well-rounded player. There's obviously still a lot of stuff to, maybe not a lot of stuff, but there is still stuff to work through for him. I definitely think decision making is still a area of improvement, and I think there's definitely things to work on offensively and defensively, but you saw why he was drafted basically pretty close to the first round, because of his, the potential that he does have to be just this two-way guy who makes the good decision and can play in situations where you need him to. I wouldn't say power play, but I think he could sneak on to an end of the 2-minute penalty kill if I was a betting man.
Yeah. Badinka really impressed me. I think just there's a maturity to his game that, is pretty rare for a defenseman his age. Like, he makes a lot of really smart defensive plays. Like, he's a great skater. Decision making, like you said, is a work in progress. Like, he needs to learn how to make decisions with the puck at a high pace. Like, he can make those decisions, and I think he does know what to do. It just kind of takes him a second to go through all of the options.
Yeah.
And that split second, damn, we just had crazy lightning outside of our house. Sorry.
It's okay.
I think that like that split second between like getting the puck and then figuring out what to do, in that second it can cause him to make a mistake or panic, and then make a mistake from panic.
To draw
So
oh,
I
sorry.
think we saw that a little bit in the preseason games. I even saw it a little bit in the showcase. I won't lie.
Yeah.
But the fact is, he's 19 years old, and he's looking like he's definitely belonging at this level of hockey. Like, this level being AHL. Like, that's huge. If you asked me this last year, I would have been like, he's okay, he skates well, like, great. But, like, I think the overall aspect of his game's better. He's gotten a little stronger. Like, that's a big deal for him.
Yeah. I was gonna draw the comparison of like kind of a college quarterback. Like he kind of seems in the stage that he's in right now. He's like maybe a redshirt freshman, true sophomore, in which he has a lot of talent, but he's still learning how to use that talent in the most effective way possible. And yeah, he's going to look good in certain situations, but he's also going to have that really god awful pick over the middle where he doesn't see a middle linebacker or something like that.
He's CJ Bailey.
He's not as tall, but I get the.
No, well, I mean, he's damn close. He's what, 6'4"?
Yeah, that was another thing we forgot to mention about Hajayev is that he officially measured in as 6'6" this year,
Yeah,
according to the
he is a
Canes.
large human being.
Yeah,
Still looks like he's like 13 years old, though. I won't lie.
dude, it's insane. He's
But,
he's a crazy
but
baby
the
face.
reason I compare him to like a CJ Bailey type for all of the NC State fans that listen to this, like, it's just like Nick said. Like, he's got the raw talent, and like you can see it on display. Like, Bailey's a hell of a quarterback when he wants to be, and then he cannot read a defense to save his life.
Yeah, as soon as he learns that skill.
Yeah, as soon as Badinko learns like
Oh yeah,
the hockey equivalents of those skills. But yes,
thought we were still
I
talking
think
about college football for a
that's a
second.
really good comp, like with the college quarterback. Like, that's actually a really good way to put it.
Yeah, I think, and that's well to me, anyways. It helps me learn if we can relate it to something else, because then I'm like, oh yeah. Because at this point, with my radio job, my whole thing is college football right now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all I've been talking about. Even
That is your
though
life. Yes.
I've been starting to talk about hockey a lot more, which is great because these people don't know hockey that much, and it's kind of fun. And then is there anybody else from the showcase? I mean, I have one guy, but I kind of feel like he'll be into my preseason talk. So, is there anybody else that you would say kind of impressed you coming out of the prospect showcase?
I think we should touch on Nadeau. Like, he looked
Okay.
good. He looked
Well, he was in
noticeably
the
stronger.
preseason thing, but yeah, I got you.
He looked noticeably stronger, which is good.
Yeah.
I think he was meaner, which is good. Like, I'm not expecting him to be like a goon out there, but just for the fact that he was willing to throw the body around as big.
Yeah.
Did not like his play at even strength. I'm gonna keep it so real. Like, this is where I think Nadeau, like, yes, points wise, Nadeau doesn't have anything to prove at the AHL level, but like when you hear Rod talk about like Carolina's prospects, like, this guy needs to develop more. There's certain habits he needs at the AHL level. Like,
I got a plan to talk about something like that too. So
yeah, Nadeau needs to get better at 5-on-5. He needs to handle the puck under pressure better. He still needs to work on board battles, and there's just more of the 5-on-5 side of the game that he needs to work on, and that's fine. He's barely 20.
Yeah, I think he's super young.
Yeah.
So and I'll talk. I mean, personally, I'll talk about Nadeau whenever we get into the preseason stuff. But yeah, that's the biggest thing for me right now is that everybody kind of knows what he is on the power play. It's very easy to see. We all know what it is. It's, hey, Nadeau's on the left flank. Cover him with one guy and pray to God his shot doesn't get through, because most of the time it will go in the back of the net. The issue is, at least in the prospect showcase, it was very evident that outside of that, they couldn't figure out what to do on the power play.
No.
But
And people are like, oh, Alex Ovechkin's made a career out of doing that. I'm like, do you realize how good at other things Alex Ovechkin is?
yeah,
Like,
sorry.
Nadeau's not that guy. Anyways, that's a tangent. The other player I think is worth mentioning, just of the guys that stood
If
out,
it's
is
Legault, can we wait until
it's
preseason?
no,
Okay.
it's because I knew that was who you were going to want to talk about preseason.
Yeah, 100%.
It's I thought Ryabkin
Yeah.
looked decent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still like, I don't think the Q is the right spot for him, but I don't know if the AHL is the right spot for him either. Like,
I
it's really hard.
I personally think it's a much better spot for him to be than the Q, because if you're comparing the Q and the USHL, you're not going to find a ton of differences as
Correct.
well. Like, physically, I would say he's closer to being AHL caliber as well. I think if you just insulate him and give him the right development and give him the right coaches to kind of teach him what he needs to do. And I think Cam Abbott is a very good players coach when it comes to teaching.
Yes.
Because after, I think, the development you saw last year out of some of Carolina's guys, and one of the guys we'll talk about later, very specifically, they've done a good job of getting those guys. And I think Ryabkin with Abbott would be a very good decision. But I do understand the hesitance, because, there's moments where he looks good, and then there's moments where he's just hunting for a hit instead of trying to make a smart defensive play.
Yeah, and
So
then there's other times where he's just invisible because I don't think the puck skills are that high end.
I think his
It,
shot is high end, but the
shots
rest
high
of it,
end,
it's up for debate.
shots
100%.
high end, hockey sense is close to high end. Stick handling and passing, I think, are pretty average, if
Yeah.
not slightly below. And so I think that developing that, if he has to go to the Q to develop that, sure. But I do think that you can teach skill in certain
Yeah.
senses.
I think, there's definitely, I'm trying to think. I think it's in, maybe it's football. There's a very common phrase of, you can't teach speed. And I think when you're talking about hockey, there's certain things you cannot teach for a player, but there's things you can, and skill, depending on what it is probably one of those. Because shot, you can work on it, but some players just gifted shooting wise. It's one of those things. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm talking out of my behind here, but
No, you're right.
oh,
All right.
okay.
Anyways,
Let's talk about jail. That's a very interesting way to segue this, but when I say jail, I mean the Russian hockey system, which is an
okay.
awful way to
Not where
phrase
I
it.
thought you were going here. All right.
I don't really know where you were trying to go with that, and I don't really know if I want to ask.
I thought there was a dig at Jordan Stahl.
No, God, no. We're not. We are prospect focused. We are not focused on those two.
Yeah.
I don't even.
Sorry, I thought there was a
So
dig at Jordan Stahl.
no. When I say jail, I don't literally mean jail. I mean, I think currently the Canes have, I'm going to just give two examples of guys that are stuck in leagues that they are way too good for. Their point production and their play shows they're way too good for, but for one reason or another, they cannot escape the league they play in. Coincidentally, both of them are in Russia. And, this has been the case for a lot of players that are younger within the Russian system. So it's just one of those things. The first one, and to me, is easily the most egregious case. Big Unk, Fyodor Avramov. My boy is putting up almost 2 points per game and is the captain of Kapitan Stupino. Capitan Stupino has been one of the worst teams in the MHL for a couple of years at this point. It's been bad how
Right,
bad they have genuinely been.
because Capitan Stupino is Sochi's system. Sochi is one of the worst KHL teams.
And they're still bad this year. Right now they are 2-4, which is bad to say the least. This gentleman by the name of Fyodor Avramov has 10 points in 6 games, 6 goals, 4 assists, and I want to say almost every single assist is a primary assist.
Yeah.
He leads his team in points by 3. I do not, and I truly mean, I do not understand why a guy is getting 20, close to 20 minutes of ice time and playing center as well. I've never seen him play center before. He has been playing center for Capitan Stupino. I do not know why he is not being tested in a higher league. He had KHL games last year where he was the 13th forward or getting less than 5 minutes a night. I think he had one game last year where he got more than 5 minutes. I will look that up in a second. But the only league that he genuinely looked like he was getting tested in and getting genuine time to try and figure out and learn how to develop was at the end of the year when he was playing in the VHL. This year, he has not even sniffed the VHL. I do not understand it. And then, I think people are just happy because, hey, look, this guy's putting up points. Congratulations. And then I really quickly want to remind them he is playing in the worst professional junior league there is in Russia currently, and he's dominating. He should not be there. And it's just very sad, at least to me, to see it, because he should be playing higher.
Avramov actually had a handful of games above 5 minutes.
Oh, well.
However, only one game above 10 minutes, and it was 10 minutes and 44 seconds in September.
I guess there's egg on my face.
But most of the games he was getting about 3 or 4.
I mean, that's prime development time. And for a team like Sochi that is so close to contending for the KHL Cup, I mean, I get it.
Do they have a VHL team?
Yeah, Rostov.
I don't know why he's not playing there, I'll be honest.
Now, the only thing I will mention, just because it probably is important to mention it, is that Fyodor Avramov is currently in a contract year. Again, that is just a mention.
That is exactly why he is not.
Because it's happened in the past where a guy hasn't signed a contract yet. He's a drafted prospect. And because he hasn't signed, they're just going to shadow realm him, basically. So I'm not saying it's true. I don't know. But it's something to note just in case.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's pretty likely. I mean, like, he looked good at development camp.
He was awesome.
And I think that, like, Carolina is basically saying, like, just get over here to the AHL when you can.
I'm not saying that, but I do. At this point, it's kind of just annoying because, come on, like this. And I think people know my adornment for Fyodor just because, great nickname. And he's also just a style of player that you like watching because he's big bodied, he's physical, he has a good shot, and he skates really well. That's a player you like watching just because. So
yeah, there's at least enough tools there to make you go, huh.
Definitely make you be like, yeah, this guy should be playing somewhere where he's actually going to get.
Should actually get some ice time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So the other guy that I don't want to actually say is in, obviously, he's not actually in jail. It's just a figure of speech to try and explain the point. He gets traded this offseason, which, I kind of got because, new coach coming in. He probably already had his mindset coming, like, of guys that he wanted. But it was a guy who had played KHL games 18 years old, had a really, really good run in the MHL playoffs where he helped your team go to the MHL finals. You lose eventually in 7 games to Semyon Frolov's team, but that's not really important. But it was Semyon Frolov's team. But he helps you out. He's named best defender in the final out of either team.
Mm-hmm.
He's averaging well over 23, 24 minutes a night.
Yep.
And he's playing incredibly well. He gets traded, and now the same thing is still happening. This year, though, I will immediately say, he said, all right, if I'm going to be stuck here, I'm just going to become incredibly good offensively, which he has, weirdly enough. That is Timur Cole. And again, I think people understand that Nick, have a little bit of adornment for him because I got to watch him a lot last year whenever he was with SKA and I was watching the Keishan games, and I caught a good amount of the SKA final, and I went, yeah, this guy could probably be somebody just because he is a great skater, he is a good defender, and he has some offensive traits that you like to see. His shot is powerful. His playmaking ability is not there yet, but I think there is some underlying factors because he has power. He has quarterback to power play in the past, but this year he is currently 11th in average time on ice in the MHL at, if my computer would want to agree with me and scroll over, which of course now that I needed to it won't, 22:51 minutes of ice time every single game.
Wow.
He has 8 points in 8 games, and that is 2 goals and 6 assists, and he is a +8, which I don't like plus minus for defensemen because I think it's a dumb stat to judge him on, but it is a stat to have nonetheless. And he is a +8 in 8 games, and he's another guy that I think when you look at the Dynamo Moscow system, you kind of go, why is he stuck in this league? And it's kind of sad to see. Also, Florida State just lost to Virginia.
Damn.
If that matters to anybody out there.
Timur Cole, man. I have opinions on him. And I see the side that you're giving me. Hear me out.
I'm just interested in what you say. So
I think he's fine.
In the MHL?
Yeah, I mean for now. Not like forever. The reason why I say this is like, yes, he was getting this much ice time last year, but the offensive side of his game was not good. Like, I'm pull it up for you.
Oh, I already had it up. 16 games, 7 points, and then 6 points in 15 playoff games.
So, like, not awful. But, like,
I will say, I would give him the benefit of the doubt, though, if he got slingshotted a lot throughout the KHL and MHL, so he never really got consistent playing time.
Right. And I don't hate, like, they're saying, like, look, we want you to run a power play, which it seems like he is. Like, we want you to still get 20 minutes of ice time a night. Like, right now, does it not show an EP? Oh, there it is.
It does.
He's gotten over 24 minutes twice.
Yep.
He hasn't had a single game under 20.
Correct.
So, like, he's getting top pairing minutes. So, here's the thing. Here's why I don't necessarily hate Timur Cole getting this little ice time. Or
it's not playing in the MHL.
Right. Thank you. This is why I don't hate Cole getting in the MHL. Because, like, he's getting a ton of playing time. And he's improving upon things that actually needed to be improved on. Like, the offensive side of his game is growing. I still think it's average. I think his shot is But if you're talking about a shot as a defenseman, very few defensemen can score from the point. Like, that's just how it is. Like, Alexander Nikishin's an anomaly. Brent Burns, in his prime, was an anomaly. Like, most defensemen aren't scoring from a slap shot from the point. That's just not how the NHL works. Like just a straight up shot from the point. It's hard. So, like, with Cole, I think the skating's improving, the playmaking side of his game, and the rest of that, kind of the hockey sense in the offensive zone, that's improving. Avramov has been doing this for 2 years in the
Okay.
NHL.
That is fair, yeah.
So, like, for him, there's absolutely no reason for him to be in the NHL. Like, he's done it twice, even,
Yeah. I
and
would
played in the
yeah,
KHL last year. Cole, on the other hand, like, there's at least, like, I think he's close to being at his ceiling to where Dynamo Moscow needs to be
Moscow,
like,
yeah.
all right, let's get him up to the VHL, or if there's an injury, he's our first guy to call up.
Not there. The other guy we'll talk about, but he was probably closer to their one of their early call-ups.
Oh, is it Kurt? Okay,
Eh,
as you say,
eh,
because
no
we've got
spoilers
like
here, bud.
80 prospects on that team. But yeah, so like Cole, I think like he's close,
No,
but
three.
there's at least like
Well, actually, no, two.
some rationality to keeping him there.
I get it. Um, it's just kind of annoying for me that because I have Flash Score on my phone, and whenever Dynamo Moscow plays, and I go to Telegram to see the starting lineup, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Timur Cole, and then I wait, and then I get a notification, oh Dynamo Moscow scored, and it's with somebody else, and I go, all right, let's see, Cole, yep, Cole primary assist, all right, let me post this on social medias, and it's just one of those things where it's like the offensive side is starting to look really good, but he's a player that I really need to sit down and watch a full game of because
Keep
I've
in
only
mind, he
done that.
doesn't turn 20 until next August.
He's that young, seriously?
August, he is super young. Yeah, like
Oh, well,
he does not turn 20 until next August.
I was
Like
about
the
to say
dude,
disregard this whole thing, but please don't.
yeah, no, the dude is very young. So like,
I think that's why I was so shocked that he was getting KHL minutes last year.
yeah, because he was barely 18 years old.
Me and Ro Rotenberg, baby.
Oh yeah.
um, let's move to the VHL now,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Metalurg Novokuznetsk has done a very interesting job with player development. They've gotten, halfway decent returns on Nikita Guslitsov as of right now. All of his points have come in one game, and it was a hat
Yeah, I
trick.
wouldn't call that halfway decent.
Okay, let me explain. Um, before we jump to conclusions here, Mister, because I've caught a couple of Novokuznetsk games. First up, the hat trick was the funniest thing ever because one of the goals was just scored genuinely as soon as the ref dropped the puck on a face-off. He just whacked it forward and it somehow went in the back of the net. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and I really
I
wish I
love
would have
hockey.
posted the clip when I found it. But they're using him as a shutdown center now. They're not using him as a top six playmaker. They're using him as a third line shutdown center, and it's working because they're getting good results out of him. Not points wise, just saying as a player, they are getting the most out of him by using him in a different role. And I
Yeah,
think that's interesting. He's also technically not a prospect, so I don't know why I keep posting about him because he is 23 or 24 now.
yeah, Yusli Stav, I think we can probably write off. Paravalov, on the other
That's where
hand,
I was getting to. So Paravelov is trying to follow up a year where he finally got traded and had almost a point per game and looked good. And he's trying
mm-hmm.
to follow that up. And I think this year so far has been a mixed bag. He's already missed a little bit of time due to injury, which you never want to see. But his production is weird because first two games first up,
My cat's trying to break into my room.
first up, oh well, first up, Metalurg Novokuznetsk is undefeated in VHL play so far. They are 7-0, which I think is interesting. And his production is not coming consistently, it's coming in spurts. So he goes 0 points, 2 goals, then 0. I think it was a primary assist. And then today, 2 goals and a primary assist.
Yep.
And I like the production And I like that he is helping his team win by being a playmaker and a scorer. And I've also noticed that this year he's moved into a bumper position on the power play and genuinely more of a net front guy. Where and I would say it's kind of weird because he's 6 foot and 194. He is a little fridge there. All right, do I just want to leave? The cat's in the way.
No, it's fine. I'll be like the for the video portion of this podcast. I'll be like the villain who like hold on slowly turns in the chair.
You're
Really
really going well here.
Oh, Mr.
Oh
Bond.
yes, Alexander Paravelov.
Alexander Paravelov, part of the plan.
Interesting player. He can shoot the puck and he is net front, but he is 6 foot 200 pounds. Yeah,
Yep. You brought this upon yourself, sir.
I think Paravelov is interesting. He's definitely brought his stock up a lot more in my eyes just because of the way he has played. I just really wish his production was more consistent than it is in just spurts instead.
That's kind of who he is, though. He's definitely.
This is also a contract year for
Consistency has
Paravelov
always
as
kind of
well.
been the model of his game.
Yeah.
So,
I was trying to sneak in. This is also a contract year for Alexander Paravelov. Shout out Mr. Smirnov for sharing that on the public forum.
oh, neat. Good God, you're heavy, buddy. We need to put you on a diet.
Let's move on. Next up, I would say the genuine, and I think we kind of not knew it was going to happen, but I think it was a guy that we kind of thought we could see a breakout year from after getting a first-hand viewing of him at development camp. And it was a guy that I was honestly a little shocked to see him break into the KHL because I thought his team had a lot more defensemen than they did. I was betting my money on Roman Chakrin making his KHL debut first, or at least staying in the KHL consistently first. I was wrong. It was actually the other guy, the other gentleman in that genuinely insane Russian left-handed defenseman draft the Hurricanes decided to have, where they took Cole, Chakrin, and let me not flick off the camera, Alexander Suryatsky, where Alexander Suryatsky has become a KHL mainstay for a good Metallurg. I don't want to try and pronounce the second half of that. Just Metallurg. Novokuznetsk is Paravelov and Guzlitsov, but Paravelov mainly.
Magnitogorsk.
Sure, we're going to go with that, but I'm just going to say Metallurg. And this has been the player I've watched the most this year. This is the guy I've genuinely set aside the most time for to have genuine live viewings of. And at the KHL level, he's kind of being used as a specialist right now, where he is a power play quarterback. Interestingly enough, he is their first unit power play quarterback, which has caught me off guard because I didn't really see that last year. But now that I watch him this year, I understand it because his playmaking and his skating is really good. Mainly his skating. He is fluid. He just moves smooth and he knows what to do. He's been in overtime a couple times where he's gotten some shifts, and my goodness, the way he can move in open space is very, very nice to watch. This is a guy I was really intrigued about after dev camp. And I mean, have you ever seen you take another 6'4" left-handed smooth skating defenseman who kind of had the defensive side down in the lower leagues and then developed an offensive side? Man, I mean, Suryatsky has been I would say so far, at least within the Canes system, the revelation of the year, just because I personally didn't expect him to get KHL minutes now, regular KHL minutes. So I've been really impressed with Alexander Suryatsky so far in this season.
Yeah, I think he is. There's not a comp that I have for him. I think he's just a really good toolsy defender. Like, when Carolina picked him, they saw a 6'4" defenseman that skated really well. He was also like 150 pounds.
Yeah, he's gained.
He's no longer
26 pounds since his last. He was 157 as pre-draft, and he's listed 183, but that also could be wrong. You keep talking. I'm gonna check the KHL website.
Yeah, he's listed at 183 on EP.
Well, I'm gonna double check the KHL website. Gosh.
But he is a big boy now, and that's really exciting because, like, again, the hope is always that you get these players and they develop physically, right? Like that's always the dream. But that doesn't always happen. But with somebody you see, like he's 6'4", like there's projection in that frame. Like there's definitely room to grow. And they like, the fact that he's a big defender with good skating, like that's already super rare. And so it doesn't shock me that Siriatsky's doing well. I wrote about him. Somebody asked for on a Substack this week who I thought the next like Russian to sign and play NHL games was, and I threw out Siriatsky's name. Not because I think he'll sign this year. His contract ends this year, but I think he extends. Oh, is it next year? EP has it as 26.
Oh, it might. My brain got so messed up with KHL contracts from last year because I had to study them so hard. So
gotcha.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
his
so
does end this year, but
me,
I would also fully expect him to re-up. So
yeah, it wouldn't shock me if he re-ups for a year or two. But I think by the time he's finished with that, he could probably play NHL games after that. Because I mean, if he's not playing a ton right now, but there's going to be consistent growth. He's going to get more ice time as the year goes on. Then over the next season after that. So like for me, it wouldn't shock me if we see him be the first to play, NHL games. I know people want to say Artemonov, but hate to say it, he hasn't been great.
we're gonna talk about Nikita Artemonov here in a second, buddy. Don't you stress about that one, bud. But yeah, if I'm thinking about over the next couple of years, especially with Russian defensemen, looking at the Metallurg roster, there's a real chance that he'll probably step into a slightly bigger role over the next year or two because they have some older guys on that defense. So I would definitely think he'd be a guy that probably re-up and wait it out.
Yeah.
Also, that team is kind of sick. Kind of a sidetrack because I also just kind of like watching them because Roman Kantarov is a really fun player. I really wanted Mikhail Fyodorov at the draft. They didn't take him, and he's been on a tear in the KHL to start the year. And then also everybody's favorite former prospect, Sergei Tolchinsky, plays on that hockey team.
Dev camp legend.
You're darn tootin'. You can't stick handle in a phone booth.
No,
Also that that 24 draft where the Hurricanes just took just big defensemen who could skate really well. Kind of fun.
Yeah.
3 of them are Russians, which also makes that incredibly fun.
No.
So let's talk Nikita Artemonov. This has been at least to me, probably the story of the year so far when we're talking about Canes prospects, because this is the guy that led Torpedo in goals and points last year. But he kind of went cold in the second half, kind of disassociated in the second half. Didn't look like the same player that he was during the stretch of games where he was good. Before, I would say about up to maybe 2 or 3 weeks left in the season, he was a very good KHL player. And then the last 2 or 3 weeks, he just kind of disappeared. Going into this year, they change head coaches and they take the VHL coach and promote him to the KHL coach. And I'm like, okay, the VHL coach played Artemonov a good amount in the VHL playoffs where Artemonov was pretty good for a team that won the cup. So I was like, okay, maybe this is something where Artemonov can, get a good foothold now that Igor Larionov has been moved on. Thank God.
Right.
And right before the KHL season starts, I get a notification from, I want to say it was Daria Tuboltsova, who is an incredibly trustworthy Russian reporter, and it said, and I'm like skimming through it like I do with most Russian notifications that I get, just to make sure it doesn't say anything Canes prospects related. And then I see Nikita Artymonov written out, and I go, "Uh-oh, what'd he do?" At first, I honestly thought it was a contract re-up, and I don't know why, or an injury of some kind. And then I read it, and they go, "Yeah, Nikita Artymonov's going to start in the VHL," and I go, "Okay, this seems really stupid." And I keep reading into it, and it says it's for disciplinary reasons, and it was because they want to just prove a point, basically, that if you're a young guy, you need to earn your time. You can't, fart around, do whatever you want, come into camp and just, you know, do that and expect to get in off name recognition and pure
Yeah.
talent alone. You need to buy into the system. Apparently that didn't happen. He got sent to the VHL. He looked okay in the games he played, and has now just kind of been, fluctuating. He's played in the KHL 4 times. In the KHL he has a 10-minute game, a 5-minute game, a 9-minute game. Goes back to the VHL, picks up an assist in 15 minutes. Back up to the KHL, was the 13th forward and getting 6 minutes. This has been probably the most disappointing, just because of the way that he played last year. And you look at the point totals, which I think a lot of people do, and that's no fault to you, but he needs to refine form, or this could be just a lost year. And it's very early to say that. We're 6 games into the year.
Yeah.
But it's a really not good start.
Yeah, so let's break down his KHL, the tale of 2 seasons in the KHL. So, like, obviously 39 points, 63 games for an 18-year-old's unreal. Including when Torpedo got swept by Loco in the playoffs. In his last 6 games, 0 points. Ice time in those games, the high was 10 minutes and 44 seconds. He'd get a couple assists or goal, 3 games without a point. He had a couple games with points. He actually had a decent stretch in late February where he had 4 points against Sochi and then a goal and an assist in
That
2
was
other games.
don't mean to cut you off. That was the hat trick game, right?
It was the hat trick game, yes. But then 4 games without a point. And then, it'd go a little while where he'd get a point every other game. 4 games without a point. And then another 4 games without a point. And then another 4 games. Like, he was just, like, there was a while where he was scoring at a ridiculous rate. But the underlying numbers were showing this guy is, like, he's really struggling with consistency. A lot of secondary assists, like, struggling on the defensive side of the puck. And it's why, when I said that Siriatsky might be the next guy to sign, I think, for one, it seems like maturity is a huge issue with this kid. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been an issue. They wouldn't have sent him down, right? 2, consistency. And if you don't have either of those things, you're not playing for Rob Brindermore. So it's concerning a little bit, but, like, it's still so early in the year. We're in the first month of the season for Russia.
Yeah. I will also say he is 19 for another month and a half. And even then he's going to be a young 20. So it's not a big deal, but
Yeah.
it's something that you want to see, especially after what he did in the first 3 quarters of the season last year. I also think that somebody, I'm not going to name names, got his hype a little high, but also it was warranted because he had a top 5 goal scoring season. Actually, no, he had a top 1 U20 KHL goal scoring season. I forgot he set the record. He has a top 5 point season as a U20 Correct. In the KHL.
He was good. I just think There were some concerns.
Yes.
Anyways, we should probably talk about preseason.
Let me. I want to go through at least. I got. Let's do an injury wrap up real quick.
Right?
So we don't really have a lot of injuries. To my knowledge, there have only been 2, but
Oh, okay.
one of
Yeah.
them is magically fixed. Not magically. Time heals all wounds, as we all know. But everybody's favorite name to say, Kurbin Limitov, is back.
Yep.
Recovered from an injury, which I think everybody kind of saw. He was injured with at Dev Camp, where he was in a sling. That was public information. I know that for a fact. He was there in a sling at Dev Camp. I remember. He has finally recovered and has played a couple games for Dynamo Moscow, the MHL team, and I'm gonna say that he has not looked good in those first 2 games, but he is also recovering from not playing a hockey game since April 10th. So he hasn't played a hockey game in 5 months, and he
Yep.
in the first 2 games got 17 and a half minutes and 15 minutes. So it's going to take him a minute to remember how to effectively play hockey after injuring, rehabbing, surgery, all the fun stuff. So we will eventually get him. And I also think Kurbin would be the guy to get the call if Dynamo Moscow at the KHL level wants a defenseman. Other guy is, because I've had people ask me what is going on with Roman Bausov. Hurt. That is what I know. Hurt should be back 26th
He'll
today.
eventually be back.
I would say within the next 30 days. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll find out. But he is hurt. Found that out through some research. So yeah, last 2 things I wanted to talk about. Noel Franzen. Fun ice time for this gentleman. A young 19 doesn't turn 20 until December. Finally gets, and he's gotten opportunities at the SHL level this year. 5.5 minutes in the first game, 8.5 minutes in the second game, 6 minutes in the third, but primary assist in the second game, in which he led a very nice zone rush, or it might have been a secondary assist.
His goal was nice too.
And his goal, that was pretty.
Yeah.
Because it was just, had it at the blue line, did a very nice little, I don't really know what you call it with his skating. I'm not that technical. I just thought it was a very nice move to generate more space. He just did a little fancy, like,
he did a skate.
Like, he's going left and he just goes like we. And he generates a little more space and gets a very good shot off through a screen. It looks good. The 2 penalties in 3 games, which is not spectacular, but he's a guy that, is getting a little bit of opportunity and hasn't looked horrible in that opportunity. And good on you, Noel Franzen. Other guy that I want to talk about before we do preseason, but hopefully preseason won't take too long. Semyon Frolov.
Yeah, he's been good.
Semyon Frolov. I am so glad I got to watch his first game of the year in full. Man, he's a fun goalie. In that first game of the year, if my elite prospects would want to load, hopefully my internet's not going down. I would appreciate it. We're going to load. Okay, Semyon Frolov. First game, shutout. Actually, really nice performance. 32 out of 32. Looked very calm, controlled. Looked really good. Second game, had to come in relief because they were getting pounded. Gave up 3 goals. Third game, 16 on 15. Very calm, very easy game. Third game, 14 of 16. But I watched a little bit of that, and they struggled heavily defensively. But in the first 4 games, if we're doing counting stats, He has a 1.56 goals against and a 932. And I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because if we look at the other two goalies that have played games, Jakub Bondras is a 3.67 and a 8.897. And Igor, a 3.41 and a 0.904. But I have caught one or two Dynamo St. Petersburg games, and I will say I am team not his fault on some of the goals he has given up.
Not his fault.
I think it's one of the best phrases I have adapted into my vocabulary.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk preseason. Just to get it out of the way now, this is Friday the 26th. I just watched the entirety of the Tampa Bay Hurricanes game. The one positive I can come out of that game with, the line of Justin Robida, Noel Gunler, and the boy who lived, was actually really solid. They looked good 5-on-5. I thought they did really well. But yes, Matt's favorite player, everybody's favorite player at this point, Gleb Sherkozov, is back. We have a goal. And it was kind of the same thing he did last year whenever he played in Florida in the preseason. It was just a line rush. He was at the end of it. He scored. It's
I have
Gleb
an agenda to
Trikozov, baby.
push. And so I have to keep hating him, but I'm happy.
Wow, that's really focusing on my finger. I'm not accepting this agenda pushing here, buddy. I had a good 5-on-5 line of all prospects, and it was Gleb Trikozov on that line. So I'm not actually, wait, let me before I talk really far out, let me pull up the everybody's favorite stat plus minus for this just to make sure I'm not speaking bad. I will say in the third period they looked really good. Oh, I see +1. Oh, Gleb's even. Oh. Mainly though, Justin Robida was a man possessed in that game. He looked very good, which I don't think should shock anybody at this point because I think everybody knows that Justin Robida is a very capable and talented NHL player at this point. He's just not going to be on the NHL team to start the year because there is genuinely not a singular spot for him. Now, the other guy that I think, and Matt introduced the idea to me, and I think he might be right in a certain way. And I knew that he was good. I didn't know how close to NHL ready he truly was, but Matt kind of brought up the idea, and I was like, okay, that smile is going to piss me off. I'm sorry. I can't say what I want to say it is, but it's a poop eating grin. Charles Alexis Legault, who I think most people heard me rave about last year as being the Wolves' steadiest defenseman from a standpoint of just he's not doing stupid things besides getting into fights. He's just a solid, sound defensive player who skates well, plays a physical brand of hockey, and does what needs to be done. And in the preseason, if you put him up against the guys that you would consider ahead of him on the depth chart when you're talking about the NHL, and guys like Mike Riley, maybe if you think Gavin Bayreuther is there, I'm sorry, Charles Alexis Legault has looked like an NHL defenseman so far. And if a guy like Keandre Miller or Jalen Chatfield or Jacob Slavin, if I can remember, if one of them isn't ready to go and you need a defenseman, I think Charles Alexis Legault, I guess you think it, but I also agree with you. Charles Alexis Legault could step into that role of an NHL defenseman and not look a lick out of place at this point.
Yeah, no, I think it's tough that Carolina has missed or is missing 3 defensemen right now. But Legault looks really good, and I don't hate the idea of giving him a shot, especially when you consider that it's not as bad as it has been in years past, but Carolina's defense is getting up there, man.
You're calling them Unk? It's not the unction yet.
Gostisbehere's 32, Riley's 32, Slavin's 31, Walker's 30, Chatfield's 29.
Alexander Nikishin's 24, 23
Yep. And he'll be 24 in like
in
2
a
weeks.
week.
Yeah. So like
But I
injecting
also
some
want to throw in
youth into that blue line isn't going to be a bad thing. So that's all I really want to say.
it's kind of funny whenever we say youth with Legault because he's 22, which
That's
is
good.
it's older for prospect standards. But
Yeah.
when you're talking about as a human being, 22 is very young, says a 23-year-old. So, yeah, I spoke about Legault a lot last year. I praised him for just being the Wolves guy when they needed a right-handed defenseman to rely on the penalty kill. Number one, when they needed a guy to just play hard minutes 5-on-5, he was the guy. He
Yeah.
was just a solid, sound defenseman, and I think fans are just going to like him if he does get NHL games, which he should at some point this year. I think it would be a disservice to all involved to not have him at least get 1 or 2 NHL games at some point this year, because he was one of the guys who didn't get called up last year, even though I thought he was good. So I think he's going to endear himself to fans who aren't quite familiar with his name yet, just because of the way he plays and just because of the guy he is as a personality. I am so lucky I got to interview him when I did. He's just a bundle of joy. Genuinely, he is a very happy-go-lucky guy, and he is one of the proudest French Canadians you will ever meet in your life.
And he's one of the people that made the Swedes were making fun of because his favorite
Yeah,
player was Ryan
Heimo,
Suter.
Heimo Gunler, and Felix were all kind of laughing at him because he said his favorite musical artist was Celine Dion.
That's wild. All right.
I would say I pull up the
Other
quote, but
other things in the preseason that I've liked have been nothing. I'm kidding.
wow, okay.
I'm kidding.
I was
I'm
trying to think of
kidding.
who are the two dudes in the Muppets that just sit up top?
Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah, you're Statler,
The
I guess. I don't know.
touchdown in Dallas must have been
Amir
easy.
Miftakov in Tampa. You must be out of your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Sorry.
Miftakov has been bad.
My sincere apologies, Amir Miftakov.
I ain't apologizing for that. No,
Oh.
he has been bad. He's on his way to Galveston as we speak.
If we're doing that, it's at least Greensboro, okay?
Greensboro.
I've had a lot of people say Greensboro
There's
recently,
not even a
which
beach in Greensboro.
I've had a lot of people say
he's
Greensboro
not even.
recently,
He's not
and
even there. He's not even going to be allowed at like Staney's or like any of the good restaurants in Greensboro, like Hops.
I will say though, I doubt he will ever go lower than the AHL. But if he does, if
Yeah,
they think
no.
he's not good enough for
If
the AHL,
Hurricanes
buddy,
even attempt to,
he is going to be back with Akbar's Kazan within minutes.
yeah, if they even attempt to send him to
Who actually
Greensboro,
desperately need Miftakov back because they've been
yeah.
really bad this year. That's
Anyways,
also a guy who watches a lot of KHL games.
Miftakov's not been great. Ryabkin was fine.
I was gonna say he didn't. He had a cool hit.
Yeah, Legault has been good.
I have two players I want to expand on as well.
Nadeau has improved. I think
Well,
he's
he's one of
building,
them.
and the reason he's getting the most games in the preseason is because he's the one that needs it the most. He's the closest to the NHL right now.
Brendan Moore has been the most, I would say, critical, but he's been the guy that Brendan Moore has brought up the most over a guy like maybe Felix, if you think he's up there. So,
because I mean, you think about Nadeau, like he doesn't like he's close to the NHL. So
yes.
obviously Rod's gonna want to be more critical. Well, not critical of him, but like his feedback's there's gonna be a lot more feedback.
Yeah, because he wants him to succeed.
Correct.
Not saying Rod doesn't want everybody to succeed. Obviously, he wants all of his players to succeed, but he has put a microscope on Nadeau, and it's probably the best thing for him.
Yes. Who are your two players? Because I'll be honest, I don't really have anybody else.
One of them was Bradley Nadeau, and I wanted to say that first game, the first preseason game against Tampa, I watched that turnover that led to the Tampa goal with like 10 seconds left, and I just put my head in my hands because kid, they're building you up. They want you to do it. You cannot make that mistake. There's no time. You have a help defender behind the net. Dump it off. Don't hold it. You are, I love you, and I love that you're getting more physical. An NHL player will steal that from you 10 times out of 10, or maybe 8 times out of 10. Just get it away, make the smart play, and that comes with time. He is very young. Just, that moment, and I think Brenda Moore harped on it, you can't do it. It hurt. And
Correct.
then the second game, the game he had against Florida, great. I thought that was probably his best game so far. 5-on-5, he was great. His forechecking was good. He was making
Mhm.
smarter decisions. He was just doing the right things to get him in good spots. And it was shockingly, him and Svechnikov had good chemistry,
Yeah.
which, spectacular. If eventually you do need him to play, he is a top 6 player. Guy like Svechnikov is somebody you're probably going to play with.
Right.
So having established chemistry is great. And I'm glad that happened. Tonight, good in moments, wasn't as good as Wednesday. But tonight is the night he gets rewarded. Sure, hockey's awesome. But I will say he did a very good job on the goal of just doing the smart thing, crash the net. I feel as if I've been a broken record when I say when you crash the net, good things happen, because it's a very common hockey thing. Go to the net, most of the time you get rewarded. Other times you get in a fight with the goalie. Who cares?
Yep.
But he's built upon the bad moment he had in game 1 to put together a great game 2 and a good game 3.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple people ask me, at least today, and I think I'll get more questions whenever I go back to writing next week, about Nadeau at the NHL level off the rip. No. He still needs time in the AHL to figure out the best player he can be at 5-on-5.
Yeah.
And, seeing Nadeau in the AHL should not come as a shock. He is very young. He still has things he needs to work on. Obviously, his shot is great. Right now, if he was an NHL player at this moment, he is a fourth-line winger and a power play specialist right now. The thing is, Bradley Nadeau, at the peak of his career, could be a 30 to 40 goal scorer, playmaker as well, in your top 6.
Yes.
So
And
right now, you need to
yeah,
build him. Sorry, go.
that's not getting him on the fourth line is not going to accomplish
It
it.
doesn't help him, because when you think about it, what's going to help him more? Fourth line minutes in the NHL level with getting power play 2 times because he's not going to beat anybody off of power play 1,
Mhm.
or let him and teammate who he has great established chemistry with already in Ryan Suzuki, just let them go with Josiah Slavin, because is Nikita the Russian dude that was in the ECHL on Chicago last year? I cannot remember his name for the life of me. Is he signed with them? Just let Suzuki and Nadeau get a grinder type player on that line to help them out, and just let him loose. Nikita
Yep.
Pavlichev, that was the guy I was trying to think of.
Oh, okay. So I was right. I just didn't say
That
it.
line was genuinely good last year of
Yeah.
Nadeau, Pavlichev, and Suzuki. Just
They
let
were.
that line run wild and let Nadeau figure it out, because he needs the time.
Agreed.
Okay, that was a very long rant there. Other guy I wanted to talk about was another guy that gets a lot of attention from Rod Brindamore, specifically because of the hype that he brings in. Alexander Nikishin. I think he's been good in the preseason. I think the game he played against Tampa was about as close as I've seen to SK Nikishin appearing.
Yeah.
He was getting heavy minutes. He was decent in the heavy minutes. He was being physical. He was making smart passes. He looked good running the power play, even though the power play didn't score. Other Tampa game, I'm throwing it out because it was just so stupid. The only thing I'm not throwing out is the third period where the Gleb line looked good and Gleb scored.
Yeah.
I have an agenda to push, buddy. But I understand at some point that hockey takes a minute, and coming from Russia to North America, it's a transition.
Yeah.
I get it. But I have seen a player that has looked really good, and I feel as if the statement of he's getting by off talent alone was kind of risky, was kind of just wrong because I've kind of like watching him. He's playing Carolina's system and the way he wants to play. Obviously, he's not fully there yet, but the talent that he has applied to the system in which he is still learning, but he still looks very good in. I feel as if it was just a very, not very disingenuous, but it was a slightly disingenuous statement. And the talent obviously plays a big factor, but hockey does not have one language. It's a universal language.
Yeah.
The technicalities of it, obviously, you want to have in English, but it's a universal language.
Mm-hmm.
So I just didn't. I just wanted to say I didn't. And he's an NHL head coach. I'm a 23-year-old kid who watches way too much hockey. I just that stuck out to me as something that was like, really? That's what we're saying? It was
is a
weird to
little
me.
weird. I will give you that. It is a little weird. Let me try to offer a bit of insight here, because I think I can provide some decent insight. I don't think Rod is saying that Nikishin has been bad.
No, I don't either.
I
Let me make that
think what
abundantly clear.
he's trying to do is he's trying to do some damage control. He knows that since Nikishin is so young and so new to the NHL, there's going to be mistakes. And if all he does in camp is rave about how great Alexander Nikishin is, it's going to lead to unrealistic expectations for people. People are going to get really mad when he makes a mistake. It's going to really hurt the kid's confidence, and it's just going to be difficult. And so when Rod is saying like he's getting by on talent alone, that doesn't necessarily mean he's bad. That's a compliment. Rod's saying, dude, he looks this good, and he still doesn't have a damn clue what we're saying. Rod isn't saying that as a negative thing.
I know he's not saying it as a negative thing.
I think he's basically just saying, like, look, there's a lot to go before he can understand the communication of it and the way we play things, because there's a lot of little teaching moments in games, and that's fine. If he looks this good now, great. He'll look that much better in 2 years. So, like, I don't hate it. I think Rod is just trying to be a good coach and to not set the expectations of people too high.
I just thought it was weird. That was all.
Have set them sky high. Because I know
well,
you can do it.
Also, no disrespect to Rod, I think I watched much more SKA game footage about Alexander Nikishin. But again, I'm a 23-year-old who watches way too much hockey, not an NHL level head coach.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if Rod did his homework.
Is he bringing in Roman Rotenberg as an assistant coach soon? Canes Insider right here, buddy.
Canes Insider. No,
with
we're the
17
R's
at the end of it.
Canes influencers.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Even though I did, I mentioned this to everybody. I've said it a couple times. I got to use Canes Prospects as an organization and got approved for something kind of cool that will be incorporated into writing probably within the next week, because this will go out next Wednesday, or it could go out tomorrow. I don't know.
Let's have it go out tomorrow the way it's current.
Yeah, that's probably really smart, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely lost my train of thought.
I'm ready for bed.
You might be, buddy. I got a trivia question for you.
All right, hit me.
Can you name the second highest scoring Canes prospect defenseman right now?
Second highest scoring Canes prospect defenseman right now.
That is correct.
Is it Franzen?
No, actually, Franzen only has 2 points. This gentleman has. It is Alexander Pelevin. I just thought that was really funny because the couple torpedo The couple of torpedoes. Well, first up, I have to keep reminding myself he was drafted 3 years ago, and he is 21, which is
Yeah.
weird because I keep thinking he's a lot older. But I'm being very genuine when I say this. He kind of looks good. At least in the past 2 games, he has been very good. Past 2 games is where he's gotten all of his points. But he's been a very large help to Torpedo Gorky so far. And I thought that was kind of fun. That
That's
was,
wonderful. I still just
yeah.
don't. I think he's so boring.
Hey, man, I'm not denying that. I just thought it was a fun trivia fact.
Sorry, yeah, I was like, Franzen, I think, has the second highest points per game. I think that's what I was getting confused by because he's only played in 3 games. So
That is also wrong. He is a fourth highest. Sorry.
of defenseman,
Oh, defenseman. No, he's second highest. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say for defenseman, I know he's second.
Yeah. Didn't mention it earlier whenever we were talking about gentlemen getting the shaft of it in Russia, but Yarvoy is also having a bundle of fun in the Spartak system, which I kind of thought was going to happen, but
He's such a weird player.
yeah, I really wish he would have stayed in North America, and I think we both kind of wish that, but we don't get what we want, as we've seen in multiple occasions over the past couple years.
Correct. All right, I am gonna go to bed because I'm tired.
Yeah.
Puppy woke me up at 3:45 this morning, so.
All right, this has been Developing Hurricanes. Trying to think. I couldn't tell you when we'll be back next, but you can check out
I'll
Matt's.
be back at the end of preseason to like preview like the North American seasons.
Sure. Check out Matt's writing through his Substack. The Canes Prospects will be back writing. This is going up tomorrow. Canes Prospects Substack will be back a week from today. And yeah. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, folks.